What's up everyone? Welcome back to another video. My name is Justin and today I'm going to tell you guys how to crunch the numbers for your house hack. And before I begin, be sure to subscribe to the channel and make sure you click on that bell for notifications. But let's get right in the video. Alright, so now I'm going to explain how to calculate cash flow for a house hack specifically. So I'm going to make up a subject property right here. We're going to call it 123 Main Street. And let's say the purchase price of this home, I'm going to call it a quadplex. So it's going to be a 4-unit building. We're going to call it $340,000 purchase. Let's say it takes $10,000 to repair it. And let's say after you fix it up, let's say it's going to be worth $355,000. I mean, these numbers I'm kind of making up as I go. But let's say closing cost, it depends on your market, but in my market, we might pay up to 3% of the purchase price. So I'm going to say 3% of the purchase price. And for annual property taxes, again, depends on your market, but in my market, we might pay 1.2% of the purchase price annually for taxes. So it comes out to $4,000 for taxes. If you're going to be using an FHA loan, like I described earlier in this video, you're going to be putting 3.5% down. Let's say the loan interest rate is 3.5%. As of the time I'm recording this video, it is lower, but I'm just using 3.5% to be conservative. Points charged by lender, we're gonna call this 0 to keep it simple right now. And let's say there's no other lender charges. Let's say the mortgage is gonna be for 30 years. So your total monthly mortgage sits around about $1,400 a month. As I mentioned before, this is a 4-unit building. And each of these units, I'm gonna call each unit a 2-bedroom unit just to keep it simple. And so when you look at this, you can look at 1-bedroom unit, you look at 2-bedroom unit, 3, 4, so on. These are 2-bedroom units and you're gonna be living in one of these. So if you live in one of these, you're not going to be collecting rent for that one unit because you're living there. But for the other 3 units, you're going to be collecting rent. So I'm gonna write 3 units right here. And rent, we're gonna say rent, you're gonna be charging $1,150 a month for this particular area, meaning you're going to be earning $3,400 a month in rent. And so other monthly income, we're going to call that 0 for now. Vacancy, you always want to factor in vacancy because, tenants move out, your property isn't always rented out all the time as part of real estate. So we're going to call this, we're going to plan for 8% vacancy. Next, we have our fixed landlord expenses. So we already know that we're earning roughly $3,100 a month for gross income. Now we're going to expenses, and for electricity, depends on your market, but in some markets the tenants pay for electricity usually, sometimes it's flipped and the landlord will pay for electricity. But in my market, it's typical for multifamily properties where the landlord will not pay for electricity, so I'm gonna say we're paying 0. For water and sewer, the landlord usually does pay water and sewer in my market, so we might put $250 for water and sewer. MIP stands for Mortgage Insurance Premium. And this happens for FHA loans. It just kind of protects the lender in the case that you default. And so how this is calculated, it's kind of, a little fancy, but it's 0.0085 or 0.85% of the loan amount. And you're going to divide that by 12 to get the monthly amount. But pretty much for any loan, whether it's conventional FHA, anytime you put less than 20% down, you are gonna be paying some type of insurance premium. And for the FHA, it happens to be called the mortgage insurance premium. And in this case, it's around $230. So garage, that's gonna come with water. HOA, let's say we're not gonna be in an HOA, so it's 0. Monthly insurance, I'm gonna put that for a quadplex at around $150. Monthly property taxes, this is calculated from our annual property taxes right here, and it just divides it by 12. And then we're gonna go to other monthly expenses, say we're gonna have no other monthly expenses. So total fixed expenses, we're sitting at about $970. Next, we want to go on to the variable expenses. And these are the expenses that happen, but they don't happen every single month, but you still want to budget for them. So for repairs and maintenance, let's say we're going to budget 5% of the income coming in. Capital expenditures, so these are the big ticket items, we might budget 5% as well because maybe it's a newer property. And then property management fees, let's say you do get a property manager, and in my area, you might pay up to 10% of the income. So for variable expenses, we're gonna be budgeting for about $630 a month. And when you look at the total summary, we have adjusted gross income, about $3,100 coming in. And for the monthly expenses, we got about $3,000 going out. So for the monthly cash flow, you are going to be collecting $93 every single month while living in the property. And you might look at this, you might see the cash flow, you might see the return on investment of 3.49% and think, that's pretty low. Why would I want to do this? But keep in mind, you are living in this property. And let me scroll back up. You are only renting 3 out of the 4 units. And by living in this property and renting it out, you are actually, instead of paying this rent of $11.50 every single month, you are actually instead earning $93 every single month, which is massive. And if you ever actually wanted to move out of this property after living in it for over a year, you actually would rent out probably your unit that you were living in, and this 3 units changes to 4 units because now you're renting out that unit. And now when you scroll back at the numbers, now you're earning a cash flow over $900 a month with a return on investment of over 35%. Now that is insane, and this is why I highly recommend house hacking as kind of your first investment strategy if you want to keep it nice and simple. It's super easy, super powerful. You can get all this done, and the total cash needed to do this is about $32,000. So yes, you do need some funds available, but overall, it's a very powerful strategy. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate it. This calculator is actually in the description below. It's a calculator that I've created, so be sure to check it out. I appreciate you for watching. See you in the next one.